Hey everyone, it is late at night and I'm Norman. So I get a lot of emails from different brands that I've subscribed to so that I could see what they're doing. And I got an email from Maven and I realized it's been a while since I've looked to see what Maven is up to. I own one of their watches and we'll discuss that line in this video, but they've been doing some pretty cool things. So tonight I'm going to go over each of the watch lines that are currently on their website, and we'll see what this brand has been up to. So let us begin. So one thing you'll notice as you go through their catalog is a lot of their designs are available in a number of sizes. And the first series we're going to look at is the Artisan line. And this is a great example because you could get these watches in 28mm cases, 34mm, and 40mm cases, which is amazing. You can get pretty much the size you want. The dials on these watches are super cool. They're really technical looking. So the dials on these watches are very cool. They're really technical looking, and the hour indices kind of radiate out from the center, and the lower half kind of flip their orientation so they're still right side up when you're viewing the dial. Around the edge of the dial is a minutes track. The hands are simple Bauhaus-y style stick hands. And the colorways are great. Some of these have green dials with yellow gold cases and brown straps that fit them perfectly. There's a cool light gray dial variant, and those have a silver case. There's also a blue dial with yellow gold. I like Maven's technical looking dials. That was one thing that caught my eye with the watch that I purchased from them. The one I bought was military inspired, but it really looks Bauhaus-y to me. So they're kind of like technical and artsy at the same time. I mean, that's very Bauhaus of Maven. In this line, we have a Swiss quartz movement of some kind. And of course, they were architecture inspired, which is cool. And these retail for about $170. The next line is the Brute. And as the name would imply, these are also architecture inspired, and of course inspired by brutalist architecture. Born of the urgency of post-war reconstruction and later rediscovered through books, photography, and social media, brutalism has undergone a strange cultural journey, from an optimistic social project to a public enemy to an unexpected icon of the Instagram age. Today, buildings once threatened with demolition are being reassessed, photographed, debated, and in some cases carefully restored. Despite the name, brutalism comes from the French expression béton brut, meaning raw concrete, a phrase popularized by Le Corbusier to describe concrete left unfinished, showing the marks of formwork and construction. From the beginning, brutalism was not conceived merely as a visual language, but as an ethical position. In its early formulation, especially in the work and writings of Alison and Peter Smithson, it stood for an architecture that was honest about what it was made of, how it was built, and how it was used. Materials were not to be disguised, structures were not to be hidden, and buildings were meant to express their function and construction directly. And the Brute absolutely embodies this. These are square watches, and they're brutally square. The dial is a circle that's cut into that square. The hands are minimal and Bauhaus, just like the previous line we looked at. Minute markers are cut into the square around the dial. There's a date window on these. And they're three-handed quartz watches. The dial has nothing on it. However, the dial looks really cool with that sunburst that somehow works with the overall design. They're available in essentially two different colorways, one with a gray case on it, two different strap options, a brown one and a black one, and they're also available in a black case. I like how these watches really embody the inspiration that they were designed after. The case size on these is 32 millimeters, and being square, that is not actually a very small size. So I wouldn't be too scared about that. They should wear pretty decently. Inside these watches is a Japanese quartz movement, and they retail for about $200. Next up we have the Minimalist. And these are ladies' watches, or people who like very, very small watches. They're all in 28 millimeters, and they're all very Bauhaus. They're all very Bauhaus. It's gonna take me a while. The dial is nothing but the Maven logo at the 12 o'clock, batten markers around the edge, and stick hands. They're two-hander quartz pieces, and I'm not sure exactly what is inside these watches. On the listing for the watches, it says Swiss quartz, but if you expand the specifics on it, it says Japanese quartz, so I'm not sure. And they retail for about $200. They're available in some of the great colorways that we saw in the first lineup we looked at, as well as a white dial variant, and a black dial with a yellow gold case and matching markers, as well as hands. And then we have the Enduring lineup. And these watches have marble dials on them, and some of them look really cool. I like the subtle patterns of the marble. All of the light dial variants are available in 34 millimeters, and the black marble variant is available in 40 millimeters. I should say they were. All of these are sold out. In fact, there's a lot of sold out pieces on this site. So if there's one that you're interested in particular, you might have to keep your eyes open. Maybe they'll come back in stock at some point in the future. These watches are two-handers. Inside of them are Swiss quartz movements. They are super minimal. There is absolutely nothing on the dial. Take that, Movado. The next line is the MUS Solar Quartz. And I really like these designs. These are 40 millimeter watches, and they have a solar movement in them. The gray color variant looks so cool. The dial is this really great shade of gray. The subdials are a subdued green color. The second hand is yellow. There's a pop of yellow at the 12 and in the center subdial. It just looks absolutely amazing. And at the time of this recording, only this colorway and the black on white variant, I would say Panda, but there's 3 subdials. An Alien Panda? Those are the only 2 colorways that are currently available. The black variant looks really good. I love the case shape, and just the overall design of these pieces looks just great. They have a Japanese solar quartz movement in them, and they retail for about $350. Next up we have the MUS Auto. And these are the only automatic watches in their catalog. And just look at these pieces, especially the black dial one. They have box crystals and kind of that CWC style case to them. There's a round date window at the 3 o'clock, and it looks really great. Like the black dial, for instance, the date wheel is white on black. It just kind of disappears into the dial and looks like part of the design. The hands look like they're similar to the one that I own, which makes sense because mine is an MUS quartz. And I know on the watch that I own, the hands are kind of a brushed metal. They just look so great. I mean, look at the black dial one in the wrist shots. The cream dialed variants look really good as well. I mean, so do the green and the blue dial ones. I feel like Maven does a really good job with their colorways. The colors just look so good on their pieces. These watches are available in 38mm, and inside of them is a Miyota movement of some variant, and they retail for $370. So the price is kind of getting up there now. Next up, we have the MUS Quartz, and this is the lineup of watches that I own one of. I own the black dial variant. The dials on these watches are just so cool. The cases are minimal and Bauhausy, even though they're kind of military inspired. Some of these ship on paratrooper straps, and you may have noticed that some of the previous lines also do. And those are super comfortable. I own one. I don't recall what watch I put it on. Once I'm done recording this, I'm gonna have to dig through my watch boxes and remember what I had it on. But those are such great straps. I like the ones with the line going down the middle. These watches are available in 40mm and 34mm. The one that I own is 34, and for the design, it looks great. There's all kinds of colorways, some with cream dials, of course black dials, the greens, the blues that we've seen before, all just great looking. Inside of these is a Swiss quartz movement. They have 3 hands, and I believe all of these watches have sapphire crystals, and these retail for about $200. Okay, this last line is the one that I'm most excited about. This is the Deco series, of course inspired by Art Deco. The Art Deco style manifested across the spectrum of the visual arts, from architecture, painting, and sculpture to the graphic and decorative arts. While Art Deco practitioners were often paying homage to modernist influences, such as Cubism, Destigel, I don't know what that is, and Futurism, the references were indirect. It was as though they were taking the end results of a few decades of distilling compositions to the most basic forms and inventing a new style that could be visually pleasing but not intellectually threatening. The Art Deco style originated in Paris, but has influenced architecture and culture as a whole. Art Deco works are symmetrical, geometric, streamlined, often simple, and pleasing to the eye. This style is in contrast to avant-garde art of the period, which challenged everyday viewers to find meaning and beauty in what were often unapologetically anti-traditional images and forms. So these are tank-style dress watches. They're available in 26mm and 18mm. And for reference, the Dolce Vita that I own is right around the 26mm size. I think it's actually a bit smaller than that. So for a tank-style dress watch, that's actually a good size. It's not overly large or super tiny. But for most people, it's kind of intimidatingly little. But having owned a pretty large Dolce Vita and then the smaller one definitely fits the design more. But that's just my opinion. These are 2-hand quartz watches. They have hidden lugs, and each of the dials have different textures to them. One of the ones I was looking at had circles etched into the dial radiating out from the center of the dial, where there is a circle of indices. And yet others had vertical lines or horizontal lines, so they kind of play with the subtlety of very deco-y textures in the dial. These are available in white dial variants, green dial variants, black and gold dial variants, and you can get them with silver, stainless steel cases, or yellow gold tone cases. Of course, with all of these pieces, if I say yellow gold, it's yellow gold tone. I mean, looking at the prices. They have basic stick hands, and the indices are batten markers. I mean, look at the wrist shots. These watches are so cool looking. Again, they list them as having Swiss movements in them, and yet under the specifications, Japanese quartz movements. So one of the two. These are 2-handers, which is great for the elegant design. They're just nice and minimal, and I love what they did with the dial textures. The overall design just looks great. And they're pretty affordable. These watches retail for about $200. So that is what Maven has been up to. Thanks for watching.